Bungie's cooked. Marathon's done. Once again, this company has been accused of plagiarizing another artist's work, stealing directly one from their source material and placing it directly in the Marathon. Let's talk about this and several other lawsuits concerning Bungie right now. I'm Lucky, the channel's game on, we just keep gaming on. Appreciate if you hit subscribe, appreciate if you hit like. Let's get into it, guys. Let's start off with a lawsuit from writer Matthew Kelsey Martineau, accusing Bungie of plagiarizing elements of his work, specifically the science fiction story he posted on WordPress from 2013 to 2014. He argues that content from Destiny 2's Red War and the Curse of Osiris campaigns from 2017 lifted elements from his work. Right now, Bungie is using fan-made footage and videos as evidence for their side of the argument, and the judge just recently said that he doesn't like that. He thinks that it's unreliable source of material and unreliable evidence, so he's not allowing them to use that. And that's where that stands right now, so they're currently embroiled in that. As well as former Bungie director Chris Barrett is suing Sony Interactive Entertainment and Bungie for more than $200 million. Why is he suing them? Because he claims that Bungie and Sony sought to avoid paying him nearly $50 million by terminating his contract for sexual misconduct, allegedly. Alleging that he called lower-level female employees attractive, asked them to play Truth or Dare, and made references to his wealth and power within the studio, suggesting that he could help advance their careers. And he says that I feel that I've always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive of my colleagues, many of whom I consider my closest friends. So they're both on opposing sides of that one. That's currently ongoing. As well as Bungie will compensate an artist after its Destiny 2 Nerf Blaster ripped off their work. This was Tofu Rabbit's work specifically, and they ripped it off for the Ace of Spades Nerf Blaster. But to Bungie's credit, just announced it will make sure to compensate credit Tofu Rabbit for its incredible artwork after a rapid investigation. As you can see in Tofu's examples below, it's an incredibly clear-cut case of copyright despite the changes that Bungie or Hasbro's artists made to the blaster. Yeah, crazy. When Bungie and Hasbro decided to create a real-life Dark Blasting Nerf version of one of the most famous Destiny 2 guns, someone got lazy, stealing a fan artist's 9-year-old work instead of creating the Ace of Spades from scratch. So they've settled with him already. Now, that brings us to the current lawsuit with the artist Fern Hook, also known as Antireal. Now, who is Antireal Fern Hook? Well, Fern Hook is a 30-year-old independent artist in Scotland who also co-runs a design and software consultancy firm called Superstructure. And she noticed that Marathon is covered with assets lifted from a poster design I made in 2017, all in alpha version of the game. Okay, so here are some of her posters on her website, antireal.info. You can check these out. I think she posts every single day on here, but some of them are pretty cool, man. Just general art designs and posters for inspiration, I think is what these are. Check this one out, pretty cool. Now, somebody noticed in this post right here on one of her 2017 posters, the writing ALEPH, Dark Space, Haulage, Logistics. And you can see over here in the Marathon Alpha trailer and gameplay footage, you can see the exact same writing, ALEPH, Dark Space, Haulage, Logistics. One for one, copy and pasted right into the game. Unbelievable they could do that. How can you be so stupid, Bungie? Man. So that's the current accusations right now. Everybody is saying that she needs to sue them, but she herself is saying that she doesn't have the energy for it or the resources. Which is strange to me because there's so many people that would love to help you out in this situation. She should just reach out to somebody and they would definitely come to her aid. And they'd get this thing figured out really quick because Bungie is cooked over this. 100% cooked. 100% guys, it's over for them. That plus the other lawsuits they're going through right now itself didn't look like anything special to me. I watched the gameplay trailer and I watched the content creators go over there to Bellevue and play it in Washington, and it didn't look like anything special. It just looked like their version of a looter shooter in order to get some cash flow from an industry that's made a ton of money in games like Fortnite, Escape to Tarkov. Regardless, there's nothing about this that looked exciting or interesting. So, combined with the current drama going on with the game and everything else Bungie's been embroiled with, I consider this to be dead on arrival. Concord 2.0 even. It's going to be a giant flop when it comes out, I guarantee it. Okay guys, let's watch the developer direct and they address Marathon and the current situation here. This is, I think, the art director, and then I don't know who this other guy is, but let's find out right now.
I'm Joe, in case you don't know me. I'm the game director here on Marathon.
Okay.
To my left here, or potentially on the right on your screen, depending on if it's mirrored, is Joe Cross, everybody's favorite Joe, art director on Marathon. Sitting across from me, who's not on camera, is Andrew Witz, gameplay director, and we're gonna spend some time talking about some stuff today. Our show is a little bit different today. We planned actually to show a lot more stuff, but for a lot of reasons we're about to get into, we decided not to show a bunch of this stuff. But we are going to be discussing a lot.
Yeah, they can't right now, right? currently in a lawsuit. They don't want to put any more of this out there as evidence of what they've already done, because they are in big trouble for this one.
About what we learned through Alpha, some of the plans that we're going forward with. But before we get into that, Joe Cross has some sort of topic that he wants to talk to you all about.
Yep.
Wow, why is the lip sync so far off? What is going on here?
Thanks, Joe. And hey, everyone. I'm Joe Cross, franchise art director of Marathon.
The hell?
Yeah, and wanted to take a minute to talk about some of the events from yesterday. It came to our attention, and sorry, I wrote this. I wanted to make sure I get this message right. It came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon in the early stages of pre-production.
What is with their audio? Oh my god, really? Chat is lighting them up too. Good job, chat. That's so fucking funny. This is terrible.
Took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in 2020. The decal sheet included icons and text elements.
This guy on the left looks like he could be anywhere else right now, man. He's like, fuck my life.
These elements ended up in our alpha build, and there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight, and we are working on and 100% committed to our review process to ensure instances like this don't happen again.
One thing I will say is there is no excuse for it. There's absolutely no excuse for it happening a second time, and there's absolutely no excuse for it happening 3 or 4 times like it has with Bungie over the past 5 or 6 years. I think it's 7 or 8 years, actually. They've been embroiled in different lawsuits. Absolutely unbelievable, and that goes to the head of the snake. The management and leadership in charge over there is the reason this is happening. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe these guys are trying to meet deadlines, and so they're cutting corners by doing this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But the leadership over there is the problem, because you've seen this problem over and over, no matter who the developers are in there.
On Marathon or at Bungie. A few of the things that we've done over the last 24 hours and what we're doing to shore up the review process are as follows. We've reached out to Antireal, the artist in question, and followed up to ensure that we do right by this artist.
Chat's saying you were following the artist. Reminder that the director was following them. So this guy, Joe, obviously knew what was going on because he followed them on Twitter. God, that's so funny. Chat is lighting him up. Look at Joe right now. Could be anywhere else, right, Joe?
We're auditing all of the previous work by the artist, the internal artist, including the environment decals already in the build, which is part of why we're delaying some of the content we're going to show today. And we're committed to removing anything that is questionably or inappropriately sourced. We're doing a very broad decal audit, and if we locate any other details or elements, we'll make sure that those are eliminated, recreated in-house for sure. Hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years, internally and externally, and we share many influences, including modernism, Swiss typography, 2000s style vector art, cyberpunk, and of course the original Marathon trilogy. Our style is a result of all of those inspirations. And it's all.
So you're just trying to muddy the waters right now and get away from the actual situation. They are going to end up paying her a ton of money. I guarantee it, man. It's crazy that she doesn't want to sue them right now. She says that she doesn't have the energy for it and the resources, but there's so many people that would take this case and just run with it for her, because there is a ton of money to be made here off them, because they obviously plagiarized it 1 for 1. There's no getting around it. And they're also stating that 7 other developer artists on the studio's books also were following that artist, Antireal. Unbelievable.
Also worth noting that none of our external partners who've worked on branding or any part of the visual design of our game were involved with this situation. And lastly, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently, producing, making a living, doing commercial or fine art.
Sony paid $3.6 billion for Bungie, somebody says in chat. It's a lot of pressure on Bungie, you know what I'm saying? I could totally see somebody cutting corners and by stealing somebody else's artwork, talking about the lawsuit with Matthew Kelson Monroe here, and the storyline script that they took for Red War and Curse of Osiris, cutting corners there. I can totally see that happening, guys, especially with that much money on the line and that much pressure.
We've worked with many of them. It's one of my favorite parts of the job is to make those connections and create content and collaborate. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Antireal, whose work was used in this case. And I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So
chat is merciless, dude. LL boo, step down. I would be surprised to see the story beats that would be stolen from. Hope this game succeeds so it can annoy the folks complaining. You can't steal art styles, folks. Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience.
So absolutely, and thank you, Joe, for coming in and chatting with us about that. If you have any further questions about that, feel free to ask them as we go along. We're probably going to transition now and just talk a little bit about Alpha. And Alpha was a big milestone for us. There was a lot of stuff that went into it. It was...
and just like that, we're on to the game. Okay, they said their apology, they said their statement on it, they're moving on, they're ignoring everything in chat. No one can know everything about every aspect of the game all at once. This stuff happens. What matters is they're owning up to it, mistakes, and taking action. I don't agree with you, Space Panda. I think that's bullshit. For a company that's made this mistake several times before, yeah, it's just the way that they operate at the end of the day. Apologize later and hope it all works out. Now, that's all I'm going to watch for this, because I think they're just going to talk about the game after this, and they're probably not going to address any more of it.
We're still talking about base bag space, like basically the thing is we don't want you to not feel like you want to get a bag.
Anyways, they're just talking about gameplay and stuff like that right now, so I don't really want to get into that. Yeah, pretty unbelievable. We'll see where this current lawsuit goes. Like I said, they're going to settle like they did with Tofu Rabbit. Absolutely, 100%. It's just the number that matters. The only thing that I heard Luke Stevens talk about that is curious about that is that they haven't actually sold the game to anybody. They haven't made any money off of it. So what are the actual damages? What can be recouped by Antireal? Very clearly plagiarized, 1-for-1, 100%. Pathetic for a studio as big as Bungie with the storied history that they have, Halo, Combat Evolved, everything like that, Destiny. Unbelievable they continue doing this in the public eye and getting caught. Apparently they don't care though. I do see them in the future with Marathon having zero success with that game. I think it's dead on arrival. I don't think anybody's going to play it. I think it's Concord 2.0 in fact, and it's going to fall flat on its face. Partially because the game itself didn't look interesting at all. Didn't look like anything special, just looked like a looter shooter cash grab to me. And this stuff with Bungie, people are probably sick of it by now. I'm sick of it. I think it's pathetic. You can only live off of your past relevance and past successes for so long. At the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately? And lately, Bungie has plagiarized, copyrighted, and stolen from other artists that are more talented and hardworking than they are. All in the name of making money for the corporation that paid $3.6 billion for them. Interesting. Anyways, I'm lucky. The channel's game on. We just keep gaming on. We'll continue to follow this story and we'll let you guys know what's happening. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.